This is exactly what I did to change my identity as somebody that's experienced childhood trauma and was labelled as extremely shy. Let's dive in. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new around here, my name is Christina and I help empower people on their spiritual and healing journey. When we experience huge change in our life, it's never really about our actions or what we did becoming more self-disciplined. It's about how we change who we are on the inside. And what I mean by this is changing our core identity. And for me, I was somebody that experienced childhood trauma. Growing up in a family that was extremely dysfunctional, my mother and father divorced when I was around about 6. I have very vague memories of my childhood. It's very hard for me to remember, and the memories I do have are not always the best memories. My father was a drug addict. I stopped seeing him when I was roughly around about 10, 11 years old, and then I saw him when I was about 17, and then I attended his funeral. It was kind of, you could say, it was the last time I saw him. So I was with my mother, I lived with my mother, but I grew up, experienced extreme amount of neglect, and my mother wasn't around. I grew up in a hell of a lot of poverty. We didn't have enough money for food all the time. My mother didn't work. She was on government benefits. We didn't have the latest brand clothing. Cereal was a luxury in my house. Not only did I experience a lot of neglect, I also went through some physical abuse as well. So I have gone through a lot of childhood trauma. I don't want to dive deep into this today because I want to keep this solely focused on how I changed how I felt about myself on the inside, particularly as a shy person. So growing up through my childhood, I was extremely shy, introverted. I wouldn't talk to people. I was kind of the odd one out. I wouldn't really have any large friendship groups, and even into secondary school, I really didn't have any friends at all. I was a bit of a loner, and secondary school was a very traumatic time for me. I really didn't like it, and so I was heavily bullied, and even into my... Stop right there. Before we continue with the video, I want to fill you in on an absolute amazing opportunity that is coming up on the 21st of October. On the 21st of October, straight through to the 28th, I'm offering a free masterclass. The masterclass is called The Path to Emotional Freedom. And this masterclass will help you to unlock your true potential, reconnect you back to your true self, identify your limiting beliefs and release those beliefs that will no longer serve you so you can have that more deep and meaningful relationships. Start those new projects, become that best version of yourself, and ultimately change your inner world so then your outer world will be changed. You reclaim back your power from your limited beliefs, your wounds. You'll gain an opportunity to learn tools, practices that will help you on your healing journey. This will be jam-packed to help you on your healing journey and get you on your way to transformation. And this is absolutely 100% free. If you want to come and join the community of like-minded people that are going along this journey as well, click the link in the pinned comments below to start your transformational journey today and reclaim back your power. Adult life, I didn't like social gatherings unless there was alcohol involved, because then that relaxed me, that brought out that confident version of myself. It ultimately just gave me the permission to be myself. So I was labeled as this person that was the shy one, the quiet one. I didn't like to be the center of attention. So then into my working adult life, when I attended staff meetings, work dues for meals with other staff, I would be very drawn back and quiet. I believe people could notice that. And then I started internalizing this and believing the stories I would tell myself of what is wrong with me? There must be something wrong with me. And ultimately, that's telling myself that I am broken. So I created these stories, which are ultimately illusions because they're simply a story. It's only the meaning that I gave that about myself that gave it that power, that gave it, the emotional charge of not feeling like good enough. And as somebody that does just keep themselves to themselves, which I do, I'm quite introverted, I do like my solitude, I don't have huge friendship groups now. And it wasn't until I changed how I felt about myself, my core identity, that I was able to embody the most best version of myself, this more confident version of myself that's able to do these YouTube videos now, host masterclasses, go live, and not worry about it as somebody that was really extremely shy and self-conscious before. I'm able to now, because I've changed my core identity, be that other version of myself that is more empowered, that is more authentic, and is more confident and able to show up in the world and be seen. And this is what I experienced and what I did to help change my core identity. So it started when I went through a spiritual awakening. I had my son, and it was a very anxious time in my life because we were in the lockdown, and then I had my son just before we all went into lockdown. So it's a very anxious time for me, being a new mum and not being able to do the things I would have loved to have done with my son, gone out, seen family. So I felt very trapped, and what this did, it contracted me so much and put so much pressure on me. Then I had nothing to do but kind of explode and expand outwards, and I became awake. I went through a spiritual awakening. And so this meant I started doing the inner work, the shadow work that helps you to cultivate self-awareness, because we have to become self-aware of our core beliefs, self-aware of our actions, reactions, responses, how we have been in the past, so then how that plays out in our current life, what choices and actions we have made or not have made. So I got straight to it. I went and did that shadow work, and I became very self-aware of my limiting beliefs, my behavior patterns. Why do I act in a certain way? I was like, why do I react when I get triggered? What is the core story there? What is the core belief? And as I was doing this, my vibrations started to rise. I felt more in alignment, and I was manifesting things instantly. The minute I thought of things, they were happening. And so the payoff of this process of letting go, because that's what it was, I was able to go through a process of letting go of all these stories, these behavior patterns, letting go of this core identity, because I was doing that inner work. The payoff of that is you release everything that's holding you back from being in a high vibration. So I felt high vibe a lot of the time. I used a lot of practices and tools that helped me to become aware of limiting beliefs of like, there's something wrong with me. That was a very core belief and a story that I really formed in childhood. Like, if someone didn't want to be my friend or wasn't texting me back, or something felt off in the relationships, or I always would have this story of there's something wrong with me. And so I became aware of these limiting beliefs, and using the power of journaling, visualization to heal my inner child, because I dove into a lot of inner child healing. I would sit and I would visualize going back to those experiences that I experienced, some pain and trauma, and taking care of my inner child. And if you want to check out my mystical experience story with my inner child, check out this video here, where I dive into every single bit of detail of my inner child healing experience. It just didn't happen once, it was over a period of time. Then you can know how to start to nurture and cultivate your own inner child. So now I was aware of these limiting beliefs. I was able to not let them have any power over me. I realized I was able to reframe the stories. I was able to not identify with these stories because my sense of self, the ego, was heavily attached to these victimhood mentalities, these stories, because that's the way the ego likes to work. It says, I'm a victim, this is my pain, this is my trauma. And I became heavily aware of that. And I was able to see it for what it was. And I was able to reclaim back my power from those limiting beliefs, because I was letting go and releasing the charge, releasing the emotional charge from those stories that we hold on to, and when we take it into our adult lives. So then when I was letting go of that, I was able to receive, I was able to let in and begin to embody that most higher version of myself, the more confident version of myself. And as a result of this, I was able to let go of old friendships that were no longer serving me, and I called in new friendships. And I was no longer bound by fear of judgment and fear of rejection. And I made some new high vibe friends that were actually supportive and empowering rather than unsupportive and gossiping and drama. So I believe that this could work for you too. Doing the inner work, becoming self-aware of your beliefs, your values, what you want in life, what you don't want in life, will help you to change who you are on the inside. Because when you change on the way you feel on the inside and who you are, then you change your external reality, and you can claim back your powers from your wounds, your beliefs at any moment. And if you want to go into the exact 3-step process of how to change your core identity, check out this video next. I go through step by step how you can change your core identity for good. So with that being said, I'll see you in that video. Much love.